Ladies and gentlemen, this is Reaction, and this is non-chaos aligned warp entities explained by an Australian. Warhammer 40k lore by the channel Majorkill, obviously. Yeah. Non-chaos aligned warp entities. Okay, warp entities. I don't know why I heard non-chaos aligned warp entity. I automatically assumed demons or something like that. Because first word I read is chaos. But yeah, warp. I guess understand, since the warp is this big thing, right? And small portion of that is chaos, right? But is there anything else inside the warp beside chaos? I didn't know that. I thought it was just this kind of a void type of thing, right? Where lots of different things happen, like your your emotions, your thought can be projected there. I guess it's the base of the thing. I don't know how else to say this. Engine developer kit or something, let's just say, that can go into the deep inside or something like that. I don't know. Everything goes inside the warp because everything is in warp or something like that. Thoughts, emotion, everything. That's how most of the chaos gods came to be, right? So I didn't know there were entities there, like I'm assuming something like demons and some horrific entities or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm guessing some gods must be there too besides chaos. Because lots of other creatures like orcs, orcs god or something must be there, right? Eldar god must be there, right? Something has to be there. I mean, orcs have some uncanny abilities, like their imagination can be projected as reality. That must be coming from the warp, right? So I don't know, but this is going to be an interesting video. I've never seen something like non-chaos aligned warp entities. So let's watch it. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more, which type of Warhammer video to react to more. I've done quite a few Warhammer 40k videos already, so if you haven't seen them, check out the description. There's a playlist I'll link to it with all my Warhammer 40k reactions. And yeah, let's do it.
G'day guys and gal. For pretty much every video for the last 3 months, one of the top comments posted by Seth has consistently been non-chaos aligned warp entities and magic would be cool video. When I first saw this comment, I was like, yeah, alright, cool, thanks mate, have a good one. But as time went on, Seth started a movement. By always being one of the first to comment, Seth ensured that his comment would always reach the top each
Alright
and
man,
every
cool,
time.
thanks, I'm gonna ignore that.
He had notifications on, tracked my upload schedule, and one time as I was preparing to go to bed, I swear I saw someone perched in my tree outside with binoculars on. His mission has been a success. I have caved to the will of Seth, as I shall now tell you about the things that lurk within the warp that don't necessarily serve or even have a connection to chaos. That doesn't make them any less dangerous or malicious, but it's cool to know that there is more to the warp than just war, orgies, plague, and 4D chess. But before we get started, it is my birthday today, and I have a gift for you. Majorkill merch, baby. Live
entities.
Right now this second. We have t-shirts in 3 colors, featuring the classic tagline that I can't say because YouTube will take away
basically
my money.
They won't have any,
the cut of the t-shirts are great, hugs the chest area,
allegiance or something, right?
In a way, baggy around the stomach. So
yeah, no allegiance in a way that they don't have a goal or something. They don't have a certain desire. They just are there. Is that it? Right? Because chaos kind of represent all the rage, disease, slowness thing, right? Singe being more of a clever, this is the type of thing, strategist type of thing, whatever. So all those emotions can be traced back to the chaos gods and chaos gods, entities. But non-chaos entities, they don't have any goal, I guess. Right? I mean, there are lots of there are lots of different cultures. There are certain entities that is just void. Black void, right, that takes form of anything, and it's just terrifying in itself, right? Even Witcher 3 has certain monsters like that, right? You can say that as something like a shadow or something that has no desire or something, right? But it just encompasses things and just becomes, it's just terrifying to think that the more unknown a thing is, the more terrifying it is. I could imagine something like that.
So if you work out, this will make it show, and if you don't, then the t-shirt will fit you nice and normally regardless. I also got a versatile singlet made with a very awesome design. As the singlet isn't a wife beat or anything silly, you can wear it out on a sunny day, at home or in the gym. Works in any situation. The Majorkill hoodie has made a return, this time using bright red embroidery for a clean signature look. As always, what number hoodie you got will be on the sleeve, so each hoodie is unique. Bit of a wild card now, I even had caps made. I chose the corduroyed style as that is unique, suits anyone, and allows me to embroider a cute little Majorkill magical avatar on them. Over half the merch has already been picked up by people who registered a few days ago, so there isn't much left. I'd say there's only about 24 hours before everything is gone for good. None of these designs will ever be brought back, so get it before it's gone. But wait, there's more. For the next 24 hours, aka my birthday period, I'm running a 20% discount code on the physical cosplay calendars. Code is MKBDay. This is the cheapest they'll be, so if you are holding out for some odd reason, after all, who doesn't love tits, then here is your chance. Today I'll go over each of the known non-chaos aligned warp entities, detailing how they came about, what their purpose or motivations are, and what abilities they have. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to note, which a lot of people are confused about, is that Chaos doesn't own the warp, at least not all of it. The warp is vast, hard to make a scale of, but it's also probably not infinite. After all, if it was infinite and Chaos didn't control all of it, then they would control 0% of it, if that makes any sense. The Chaos realms are like a cancer in the warp, destabilizing it and making...
Yeah, welcome to the infinity dilemma. Obviously, warp is massive, but chaos is a small portion of this, as far as I remember, right? But warp is way too big. If Emperor became a god, as everybody in the Imperium thinks so, probably so, right? I mean, as one key thing I take away from Warhammer universe is what you think, your imagination, thought, what you believe kind of projects into the warp. And if Warhammer, Imperium is massive, and if they all believe Emperor is a god, there's a high chance Emperor became a god because of that. So yeah.
Making large swathes of it hostile and hard to travel through. But before the current setting where everything kinda sucks, before Slaanesh was literally sucking, the Eldar Pantheon controlled a big chunk of it, and even the Chaos Gods refused to challenge them. It was only after Slaanesh appeared, ate most of the Eldar Gods, and turned their realm into the realm of Slaanesh, did the warp lose its main bastion against the darkness. This brings us to our first non-chaos aligned warp entities, the Eldar Gods. The Eldar Gods were created by the Eldar during the War in Heaven to be used as a weapon against the Catan. If the Eldar clenched their ass...
Mechanicus god? I don't remember that. Mechanicus thinks they're god and it kind of does help them, right? So that must be a god. It's also there.
Hard enough, they could even summon these gods into real space to fight with them on the battlefield. However, after the War in Heaven, Cain got bored and paranoid from a prophecy that said the Eldar would bring about his downfall. Hence, Cain entered real space and attempted to genocide the Eldar. Yeah, look, not the smartest guy. Asurion, Cain's brother and the main Eldar god, permanently sealed the Eldar Pantheon from real space, so Cain's genocide would end. This actually ended up contributing to the Eldar's fall and Cain's shattering, as none of the Eldar gods could directly intervene when their followers started fingering cats and cheese grating their bowls. Currently, all the Eldar gods, bar Cain, Isha, and Sergorach, are dead, with Cain and Isha not doing so hot themselves. The next non-chaos warp entity involves a bit of confusing lore, but I'll do my best. The Enslavers. They were either created, twisted, or awoken towards the end of the War in Heaven, as a result of the Old Ones abusing the warp in their desperate struggle against the Necrons and Catan.
Okay.
The warp used to be a nice place, where souls would enjoy an afterlife, or if powerful enough, could reincarnate without too much drama. By creating orcs, Eldar war gods, and other warp-based weapons, combined with the fact that highly psychic races were fighting and dying violently in their trillions, made the warp a bit of a shithole, in which the realms of chaos could slowly begin forming. But before demons were an issue, the Enslavers were the big bads of the warp, a bunch of parasitic insect-like entities that could link with a psycho's mind, then use that mind to open a portal in which more Enslavers could pour through to take over more minds. As the last of the Old Ones' armies were turtling in fortresses, the Enslaver plague hit, causing them mass suffering and killing the remaining Old Ones.
Look at that with the tentacle shit. I forgot his name. This is from the Cthulhu mythology, this taken inspiration from, right? What is the name of that? I forgot the name of that. H.P. Lovecraft? Yeah, I think that is, right? This is from that. So look at this creepy as shit. Ooh, this is like a bee type of thing. Look at that. God damn, this is horrifying. So I guess the first proper battle, right? Old Ones, Catans. From there, this shit started.
This drove sentient life to the brink of extinction. It also had the unintended side effect of giving the Necrons the balls to betray their Catan overlords, shattering and imprisoning them, hence officially ending the War in Heaven. The confusing part is how the Enslaver plague ended and how the Eldar bounced back so well. As far as I've read, the Enslavers weren't beaten, they fucked shit up and then just randomly vanished. The remaining Elder were then able to recover so quickly that the Necron Empire panicked and went into hibernation, to try wait for the Elder to eventually fall from grace. Like, what the fuck? There's a missing piece of the puzzle here for sure, but regardless, the Enslavers were the first malicious warp entities that invaded real space. They occasionally pop up in the current setting, with Trazyn the Infinite even having a corpse of one in stasis in his museum. Their motives aren't entirely clear, however they possess a predatory intelligence and basically just like to fuck shit up. There's a good chance that they were once peaceful creatures.
Well, it's not malicious, is it? If they just have the predatory type of mentality, it's not malicious. Malicious means a bad intent. They just do this because they just do this, like saying the tiger and lion has a malicious intent. They don't.
Warp. However, with real space twisting the warp into a nightmarish realm, they had no choice but to try wipe out sentient life, so that the warp would return to the paradise that they once enjoyed. That's my headcanon at least. In a similar vein to the Enslavers, the warp is also home to the Psychonumi? The Psychonur?
Oh, hell no.
More or less a warp wasp that sought out vulnerable psychers and implanted eggs in their brain, leading to a horrific death. They were pretty common during the Age of Strife. Prospero, Magnus's home planet, had been devastated by them, as the people of the planet randomly became psychers. This was cool until millions of warp wasps appeared and horrifically killed most of them. When Magnus arrived, he was able to unite his people and genocide the warp wasps, allowing his people to reclaim all of Prospero. The Death Watch have also been fighting against them, annihilating them wherever they can. Due to it being difficult for warp entities to enter real space, combined with the genocide campaigns against them, the warp wasps are super rare, but still a huge pain in the ass. They are, after all, 2.5 meters long, which is fucked. Their stingers would be like a sword. Some believe they enter real space via the webway, so they'd go from the warp to the webway, then the webway to real space. They seem very animalistic, following the instinct to reproduce above all else. If enough sentient people believe something to be real, it will eventually materialize in the warp. This is what happened with the greater good entity, which is causing a bit of a crisis within the Tau Empire. See, whilst the Tau have small souls and barely affect the warp, the countless client species in their empire don't have the same situation. Hence, due to humans being fucking stupid and seeing the greater good as a religion instead of a ethical guideline, they have formed a big Hindu-looking motherfucker in the warp. When the Tau were trying to reverse engineer warp drives, they didn't know about Geller fields or how shit being in the warp without one is. Hence, when they entered the warp without one, the human crew immediately died horrifically, but the Tau were left unharmed as the warp predators couldn't detect their presence. This greater good entity then saved the Tau ship and delivered it back to real space, creating the Startide Nexus, which was a whole nother issue for the Tau. The Tau that was saved got really fucking angry that their way of life had been twisted into a warp abomination, despite the fact that it did save their lives. Ungrateful pricks. These Tau are known to friendly fire human auxiliaries under their command. Following this logic, there's a good chance that in mankind's history, the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, and other pantheons existed in a minor format before dissolving as mankind moved on from them. After all, there isn't a crazy amount of humans in the Tau Empire, so if a couple billion of them can create this fully realized Tau warp entity, then it's not far-fetched to think Thor was around for a little while. Did you know that the Chaos...
Okay, so they're Hindu-like? Or the lore says the Hindu god? What is it? I think Hindu-like, so it doesn't look like a Hindu god. I don't know. I'm surprised his comment section is bombarded by Indians saying, why would you bring up image of Vishnu and talk about this?
Gods aren't even the most powerful warp entities in the Immaterium. It's actually Gork and Mork, funnily enough. The only reason why the rest of the warp hasn't been crumped is because the two gods of the orcs are too busy beating the shit out of each other instead. Regardless, they are non-chaos aligned warp entities, created by the collective Wah of the orc race. As there are so many orcs in the galaxy, each of them with a powerful Wah presence, it's no wonder why their gods are so fucking overpowered. You know the Great Rift that is currently tearing the galaxy a new asshole? The orcs call it Gork's Grin, and they have a point. Whenever their fleet enters it, they seem to always be able to pop out at the spiciest war zones, meaning Gork and Mork are likely able to hijack the Great Rift from Chaos in order to get their green boys to the front of the queue to the war party. I've already made a video on them, but the warp is...
What? Gork and Mork? So these are orc gods. The orc equivalent of, fucking shit up is also happening in the warp against chaos gods apparently. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna put my people in front.
Also home to non-chaos demons. These demons being created or empowered by the Emperor of Mankind. either deliberately or accidentally, it's hard to know for sure. The Sanguinor, the Legion of the Damned, Living Saints, overpowered heroes all that reside in and come from the warp to help mankind in their times of need.
Wait a minute, so Living Saints, Listin, what I just watched the video, is an actual warp entity now? Is that the point?
The main difference between these heroes and other warp entities is that originally, none of them were from the warp. Saint Celestine was a real flesh and blood person before she died and was brought back as a Gigachad. Same goes for the Sanguinor, who may not even have died in the first place. The Legion of the Damned follow a similar vibe, able to materialize wherever they are needed and turn the tide of battle. The concept of loyalist demons goes against the Emperor's secular truth. However, since he radiates so much power, and since the Imperium uses that power through faith and prayer, it's not surprising that it's had some interesting effects. There is also the chance—
Hold up there, look. I think Emperor's main core mentality was that, like, just point blank have a faith-based system was not his thing. But if you can explain it away, like if you can explain warp away, right? Like, you know, like there is gravity, right? Can you explain why there is gravity? No, you can only explain how it works. So if there is such thing as warp, where your thoughts, imagination kind of works, right? He would just explain that away and realize that that is part of the world now, right? Like you can create this kind of a powerful entity like saints and whatever, and still not believe in faith-based system. He was just saying like it's faith, just believe it and shut up. That's what he had problem with, I guess, right? Like how scientists say today, right? If you can scientifically explain something, we'll believe it. So basically something like that.
That the Emperor's gone fuck it and decided that atheism failed, so he may as well leverage his god powers to make angels and shit. Regardless, I'm a huge
I think
fan
the
of
first I
loyal
said
demons,
I think we believe
and I'm honestly
that.
surprised we don't see more of them, considering there are like a metric fuck ton of people praising the Emperor on the daily, way more than Chaos has praising their dark gods. So you'd expect some golden shit to plop out here and there. There are so many more warp entities that have nothing to do with Chaos, but unfortunately GW hasn't delved deep enough into them yet. Creatures that are 1,000 times bigger than a starship, warp sharks, anything and everything. 99 out of 100 times when a ship's gala field fails, it's not bloodthirsters or plague bearers that come aboard to kill people. It's one of the countless sextillion types of warp entities that do it. The only times that it is Chaos that does the deed is when they are actively targeting a ship, or the ship is unlucky enough to have gala field issues close enough to the realms of Chaos. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support
Oh
the
my
channel,
god. So imagine that. Every time you travel through warp, you're panicking like, okay, I'm going through a region which is, nobody knows about, but something fucked up could be there. And when something attack does happen, is by some creature from your nightmare. See that wasp that, stings your brain and does, yeah, god, that's just, yeah, it's gonna give me nightmares now. And I think for the Emperor, what I said, I believe that could be the case. Not that he just said, fuck it, now I believe in gods. I don't think that's the case. I think anything he can explain it away is part of the real world. He thinks that. He just doesn't like the faith-based system. So even today, when he became a god, he just like how how you can light something on fire, it just bursts. How there is gravity. So that's just how he's just gonna believe now that thoughts and imagination powering something is part of the real world now. So all the people praying to him, believing that he's a god, made him into a god. He would just use that as a more broader explanation of how world works, rather than believing in a faith-based system or believing in something like that, right? His problem was just believing there is a higher entity that just created everything and has something like that, faith-based system. I think that's where he would have a problem. But if you can explain something away, right, if you can understand something, then I guess he would be fine with it. I don't know, but yeah. Right, well, that was the non-chaos aligned warp entities by channel majorkill. This was great. Are there any more good videos about this? Because this feels like a fun topic. What kind of a night? I mean, like he said, GW hasn't expanded on this. I hope they do one day, because that's another section of Warhammer. That would be so interesting. But yeah. All right, I'll see you next time.